have quite a lot of topics to cover today, and actually we also want to make that this webinar a bit interactive. So already please take out your phones, you will be needing them. Yeah, welcome to our webinar with the topic When Systems Engineering Slows Engineers Down, how we build SE against ourselves, and even more importantly, how to fix it. Just a few words about ourselves. My name is Torben. I'm one of the co-founders of Spicy SE. I will be moderating the session today a bit. And then we also have Robert. He's another co-founder of Spicy SE, and he will be the main speaker today. He is also the brilliant mind behind our SE card games. One of them being SE the game, and one of them being Rocket Science. So both of them are systems engineering card games. If you're interested in learning more about the card games, feel free to get in touch with us. You can find our QR codes for LinkedIn here, or just search us on LinkedIn. Also, just to mention, this is not a demo of our software, Spicy SE, today. Actually, we're having a bit more generic presentation today, not specifically about Spicy SE. So if you would like to learn more about our software, you can, of course, also get in touch with us directly. As I mentioned earlier, the webinar is a bit interactive. So we're using Menti for that. And actually, just to warm up to get started, we're starting with the first question. Robert, please go to the next slide. Perfect. So easy question for the start. To warm up, please scan the QR code. It's very simple, actually. If you scan the QR code with your phone, a website will open just with the question, are you excited about systems engineering? Yes, no. And well, I don't want to bias you, so say whatever you want. I'm expecting...
Who said no? Speak up now.
Yes.
I did. I'm always the contrarian, so someone had to do it, so I did. I'm a bit disillusioned by the hype of MBSC and so on, so I'm kind of here. How can I regain my excitement again? Because currently I need a bit more excitement in my life regarding SC.
Then we have something for you.
Yeah, you're
That's
not
good.
alone, by the way, Marcus.
Okay, so David, we consider you a second no, but you cannot. You're using your phone for the meeting, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I put the thumbs up. I actually, I'm one of the blue dots anyway, because I still believe in obviously systems engineering, and if MPSC is used properly and it's embedded properly, it can make a difference. But I agree with Marcus.
All right. So we have 21 questions. We have actually more people in the webinar, so everyone else would be great if you also take out your phone and answer questions. I mean, that one was only to get started, but we'll just continue with the second question. So again, you will find the QR code to scan, but for everyone else, you don't need to scan again. Actually, it should now just switch to the next question for you. And it's free text, so what are you hoping to learn in the session? Just write anything that comes to your mind. I'll say we just wait 30 to 60 seconds to see what pops up. And then we'll continue.
So to all the newcomers that I've just let in, you can scan this QR code and an app called Menti will open. And this is an interactive webinar today. Take out your phone, scan the code, and answer the question.
By the way, David also entered something in the chat. That's, by the way, also possible, of course. Feel free to ask questions in the chat anytime you like. I think that's better than unmuting usually, since we have quite some people in the webinar. It's probably the easiest if you just enter your question in the chat. But the word cloud is filling, and I can see actually 2 of the things are highlighted. Especially, so it seems these 2 were mentioned by several people. That's actually one thing of the word cloud. If things repeat, they will be highlighted more. So hurdles and new ideas. I think the hurdles is something that we've all experienced in systems engineering. I guess for both sides, challenges is now highlighting as well. I think there are hurdles for non-SEs to participate in systems engineering. But of course, there's also hurdles for system engineers to introduce and to get others to participate in systems engineering. So yes, we will definitely talk about that topic. Of course, we are hoping to give you some new ideas. And I guess the challenges come together with the hurdles. Just reading through some of the other ones. How to get started, user engagement, traceability guaranteed, tools, systems engineering tools. That's great. I mean, I guess most of the people in this webinar know, but Spicy SE is actually a systems engineering tool. So yeah, we will take the chance, of course, to say at least a few words about it. So maybe that could be a help. Proof processes. Yeah.
How to survive. I like that one. How to survive is good.
How to survive. SE then easy. Return of investment, also a very important point. User engagement, I guess it comes together with some of the others. Requires validation, level of abstraction. Yes, I really see a few of very good buzzwords, which we in general cover with our today's webinar, and then also in general with our tool. But speaking about the webinar today, I think now's the time that Robert gives you an overview of about what we are going to speak today, or mainly him. So Robert, your stage.
Yeah, so it's a systems engineering webinar. So of course you're going to see one letter, which is a V, and we'll structure the non-interactive frontal part of the webinar in a V shape. What's the first thing we do? We analyze the stakeholders. In systems engineering, it's us, the systems engineers ourselves. It's also the management that we need to convince to get some buy-in. And it's also the discipline and domain engineers who might create a little bit of friction for us, right? They might not be as excited about it as we are. We're going to share the things that we have learned, of course, in our active careers, but of course, also talking about systems engineering with industries from pizza delivery to nuclear reactors. We've condensed our main learnings here. And analog to what you know from the V model as mechanical, electrical, and software, we want to talk about tool, method, and process in this triangle and how we can maybe flip it on its head. And then we go back into validation. So we learned some stuff. So of course we have some answers that we want to show you. But then most importantly, we want to validate that you can actually implement what we're going to talk about. And we have a really cool, we think we have a really cool gift and surprise for you, magical even, at the end of this webinar. So please stay tuned, stay in. You might actually enjoy it a lot. And with that said, here's another Menti. Get back on your phones and point at the world map.
Yes, so before Robert will start with the content, we would like to learn a bit more about you. So again, you should just see on your phone the next question, the current question. So the same thing we see on the screen, you should see on your phone. So it would be great if you answered that.
Okay. Someone from America. Must be very early for you. Someone from
Someone
Antarctica. I
Yes.
don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Marcus is smiling too much. I think it was him.
Oh wow, Ron, thank you so much
Oh,
for.
Swedes never lie, and I'm in Sweden, so
Thank you, Ron, for getting up so early. Someone is in Greenland, maybe not the best place to be at the moment, and someone from Japan. That's really cool too.
So we'll just give you a few more seconds. So please, would be great if you can answer. But definitely Europe is dominating this webinar. I mean, looking at the time, it makes a lot of sense. Seattle, USA, 4 a.m. Oh, thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you. It looks a bit Europe heavy. Torben, shall I switch the slide?
Yes, let's do it. Italy, perfect. What is your role? Are you a systems engineer, an engineering manager, a domain engineer, or we just gave a fourth option, non-engineer, so please find whatever fits you best. And as expected, this is quite systems engineering heavy, makes a lot of sense. Of course, we're always happy to also see people from other disciplines, engineering managers, of course. Domain engineers, always interesting to hear their perspective as well, because that's probably one of the biggest hurdles we have in systems engineering, to include the domain engineers, participate. And also interesting, who are the non-engineers? SE consultant and trainer. I would consider that a systems engineer still. Okay, perfect. I think almost everyone answered. Please take the last seconds, or not.
Oh,
it's okay.
sorry, I thought that was my cue.
I think the tendency was clear. We have mainly system engineers and a few from all other disciplines. It's also interesting. Please now type your industry. We kept that word cloud. So we have automotive, defense, space, aerospace, mobility, energy.
White goods.
What is white goods?
Yeah, exactly. The white goods person, can you write in the chat what you're doing?
I mean, it's like Whirlpool, washing machines and stuff that's white. Used to be, at least. Now there are all kinds of colors.
So household. All right, so again, we have a few which are dominating: automotive, defense, mobility. Assuming there's several, it was not so clear from the map, but assuming several of the Europeans are from Germany, or in general, I guess in Europe, automotive is quite strong. Defense, if I may say personally, also unfortunately becoming more strong. Mobility, quite similar. Consulting, robotics, very interesting. And then also in the small ones, actually, we have some a bit slightly different. Unfortunately, Menti doesn't combine them. So there's also automotive, powertrain, e-mobility, I think I saw.
Yeah, space,
robotics.
That's really cool.
Yeah, nice. All right, perfect. Thanks for your feedback. We still have 10 open. Robert, maybe you wait before you switch. Maybe give a few seconds.
Few seconds. Technically, we're 54 people in the call. So for those who don't know what's going on, there's a bar up here. Go to menti.com with your phone, put the code in, and then you can also interact with the
Or
webinar.
just use the QR code, which is
oh yeah, true. We'll use this QR code here. All right, so we have one Antarctic penguin in the room.
And as Robert mentioned, even if you were there, even if we were here late, we can actually see in the bottom right corner that 38 people joined the Menti, and we have more people in the webinar. So if you were late, you can still join the Menti and answer our questions. So far, most of it was introduction and learning more about the audience and the crowd. The next questions will actually be more about your problems and all that stuff. So please still join and participate.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So we're speaking today about how we can fix the perception, especially of systems engineering. And you've probably all seen a graph that's somewhere like this. It goes something like it's the rule of 10 or whatever you call it, but it's essentially the same. It's a little effort chopping down this very, very small tree at the beginning, at a very early stage of our project, of our development process. We will save or make a huge pile of money, right? It's front loading. So we want to save a little bit at the beginning. No, we want to put a little bit of effort, to save a lot at the end. I'm sorry, I'm really getting confused by more people entering, and I need to click a button here at the same time. Please excuse me. And but this somehow, for some reason, right, this should be grasping. Like everyone should be like, wow, I only need to do a little bit and I get a lot out of it. That's really, really great. So this should excite everyone to come in, all the domain engineers, everyone in the organization, all the managers. If you explain it like this should excite them to get in, right? No. But does it? We saw here that everyone in this room, or at least the people who were there in the first 5 minutes, are very excited about systems engineering. But somehow, if we look into our organizations, I think otherwise you wouldn't be here. We don't quite find the same level of excitement all throughout the organization, from managers to domain engineers. So today in this webinar, we would like to talk about our findings of why that is. We want to talk about how we switch that up. And then, of course, we want some more interaction from you to see if we're on the right track, if you agree with us or not. But before we go into what we've learned, another message for you. Let's imagine, just for a second, that your team is not so super excited about systems engineering as we are in this room, everyone but Marcus, and there's therefore not applying it, right? They don't love it, they don't do it. What are the consequences for your organization that you maybe envision or maybe you've experienced in your daily business? Give us some opinions there.
Yes, and again, everyone who has not joined the Menti yet, you can just navigate to menti.com using your phone, or of course also the browser on the computer. Enter the code, and then you can participate. This is actually a bit different now. Everyone can write answers, so we will give you again like 30 seconds or so to answer, and then afterwards you can upvote. So if you don't want to write something, you can just wait for the second phase, and then you can upvote.
Yeah, to be honest, when we practiced this yesterday, there was a button here in the lower left-hand corner to start the voting process.
Oh, but there's a magic click to group responses. Maybe you can do that.
Ooh, that's nice. Project delays, increased costs, certification issues, siloed work. Oh, then we can open this. This is nice. Slip deadline, too long development cycles. There's zero budget for any system engineering tools, zero budget for requirements management or MBSE. First, we must prove value for free, which is an uphill battle. Ooh. that's quite tough. So you're only even allowed to do a little bit of effort at the beginning. Okay, aerospace has to do it, and that's true. I think also for automotive, right? I mean, we all have ASPICE and ISO to certify ourselves. So that'll work. Requirements not covered. Yeah, some late rework originating from that, costs, quality problems. All right. I'll try to get the voting thing up again.
I keep getting prompted to provide my answer again and again and again. I don't get anything like the next thing.
Yeah, I think that problem is me because I accidentally scrolled to the next slide and back, and I think every time you get prompted again. Okay. So project delays, increased costs, simplification issues, and siloed work being the main drivers. Let's continue to the stakeholder analysis part of it. Let's look at the management. Oh, here we
Now
can
you
go
have to start voting.
So what benefits does our organization have from implementing systems engineering? Almost none. Who said that? Oh, of course.
Almost none. That's a good one.
Yeah, the reason is why we do it to check a box, you know, so it's inherently just a waste if it's not integrated with the domain work. So that's why I say almost none.
Unfortunately, I do believe that's quite common. So from the discussions we are having with potential and actual customers, that's actually not very uncommon, especially if you get too process heavy.
All right. I think we have some good answers here. So let's switch it up to the voting. So now I think you have like 3 points to give. You can also put multiple points on the issue that you think is the most important for this question.
Yeah. By the way, for me, it did still show the question. And if I refresh my screen, it's actually switching now to the voting process.
Okay, we're now 44 in the Menti app. That's really great. Let's see. Menti makes it quite a surprise here. We don't see it live. We only see it after it's finished. Okay, 30 seconds more to vote. Come on, people. $21. All right, let's see what we have. Build the right thing, clarity in what to develop, viable and successful products, requirement source of truth, maintainability, and better communications. Torben, do we think this is convincing to management?
Building the right thing, maybe, but where's the return?
All right, thank you all for answering. Let's move on to yourselves, or well, to most of yourselves, because you're all systems engineers. In your experience as system engineering advocates, what was the biggest challenge in establishing SE, bringing it to your organization, getting people to do it, getting people to partake? Document-centric is working, so why change it? Showing ROI.
It's a good one.
Having tools that help us, that's also a good one. We like that, of course.
Resistance to change process tools, that's definitely also a famous one.
Low knowledge about systems engineering. We had a system engineering trainer here. That can be solved. All right. I think that's quite some good ones. Let's start voting again. We had 21 votes last time. Can we beat it? And yeah, to the question in the chat, Marie, we're going to share the slides. We're recording this session, so it's going to be on YouTube. We might, I think, would be a good idea to actually like do a sum up, a wrap up of this, and then send that out to all the participants. So I think this is something that we will do for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you very much. That'd be very useful to see all the different ideas.
Yeah.
Because I can see them on Menti, but I can't necessarily see them on the slide all at once. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for this great idea. We'll do that. We'll send out a summary of all the things that were shared here in this room. That's a really good idea. All right,
that's
20 people.
The more people join, the more valuable the answers are. So.
Let's take a look. Having tools that help us rather than tools we have to adopt to. Of course, as tool people, we love to hear that. Overcome resistance to change, showing ROI. We hope we'll cover some of that today. Getting developers to do it. We will definitely show you how to do that. Making team understand the importance of SE. Let's see. And enterprise change management. Great. Thank you so much for your answers. And there's one last group of stakeholders that we want to analyze, which is the discipline domain engineers. What points of concern have you heard from them? Oh, immediately. Too much overhead twice. Complex Kuran. You can go to menti.com with your phone and then use the code, then you can interact directly with what we're doing here. If you want, use the nice Menti app. All right, great. There's a lot going on already, so you know the drill. I'll start the voting again. And for Connor, yeah, sure, we'll share the slides or share some summary here on LinkedIn as well. Okay, 14. We had like 20, 21 before. All right, 30 more seconds to vote. Last stakeholder to analyze. 3, 2, 1. Too much overhead, perceived value, probably too little of it. Misunderstood purpose. Too slow and non-value at slowing the speed and costly. Well, thank you so much for voting. And now from here, let's take it to the learnings and see if our learnings reflect what you have said. So starting out again with the cutting down a little tree saves us a huge pile of money. So we've already established, I believe, that in our view, in our experience, this does not work. This doesn't really excite people. So let's take a closer look at what this actually means to do a little effort. Little effort means doing it, like cutting down the tree. But that's only the smaller part of it. The bigger part of it is actually learning how to do. Meaning that in the way we currently implement system engineering in organizations, we need to teach process, we need to train, we need to mentor, and additionally, we need to master the requirements in systems engineering tooling, maybe even learn a language like SysML. That's a very, very hard ask. And all of a sudden, the little effort that for us systems engineers, we might be very capable of doing these things. For us, it seems easy, right? To us, the tree is small. But if we envision, we saw the arguments of slow, of too much overhead, too big, too complex. If we imagine our discipline engineers who are just more interested in other things than we are, as they're interested in doing their discipline stuff, we need to perceive that for us, the tree might be small to cut, but for our domain engineers, the tree might be huge. Now, then again, we need to ask, right? We have a little effort at the beginning that will save us a lot of cost in the end, and I personally believe that to be true. But now we have to go inside again in the mind of someone who's really interested in something that's not systems engineering, right? Maybe a wing foil shaper or a PCB designer, whatever it might be. And we need to analyze it. Who stays actually, and who has the effort? So the effort is me, right? I have to do it. I have to learn it. I need to go into this new tool that I don't know. I need to go to the process documentation. I need to read the guideline, read the book, get certified, whatever it might be, right? I have the effort. And who saves? It's actually the company. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? If we do something good for the company, isn't that great? Yes, my brain knows that. If I do something good for my company makes money, my company can employ me, my company can pay me, maybe they give me a raise, give me a good position. Game theory, says Marcus. How so?
Yeah, so if you model the incentive structure using game theory, that's what you could do. So I'm just pointing it out there that the game theory is like this framework where you can model why things happen. So if you didn't associate it with what you just said, then feel free to look up the term. It's basically modeling, but for social systems, you could say, as a framework. Yeah, so it's just a buzzword. Yeah,
we're expecting a LinkedIn post from you on that. It sounds very interesting. So of course our brain knows, right? If we do well for our company and our company does well because of us, that's really good for us because we get paid for a longer time. That's really nice. But unfortunately, our heart just doesn't feel it, right? If And since we're engineers, we're product-focused people, we tend to, unfortunately, sometimes overlook this path a little bit. So today, we want to flip the script, and we want to say, okay, if we want to introduce SE to organizations, right? Let's not think with the brain today. Let's think with the heart. Let's see if we can't grab the people by their passion. So let's look at passion. Let's look at our PCB designer, Tilly, over here. What do you think they're just excited by? That's quite obvious. It's what they're doing at the moment. It's PCB design, right? So asking very obvious questions here. Our wingfall designer, right? Excited about flying, about airplanes, about simulation of what is it called? I forget, CFD, CDF, fluid dynamic simulation. And our engineer over here testing motors, probably excited by the smell of gasoline, optimizing and doing little tunings here and there. So really excited by optimizing and testing motors. So it's actually, it's a kind of a non-finding, I would say. People are excited by what they want to do, right? That's why they're doing it. Sounds quite obvious. So let's look at a typical day of our engineering Chile over here and see if engineering Chile is actually allowed to do what they want to do. What does a typical day look like? Well, part of that day is actual deep work in their area, in my area. I do what I'm paid to do. I'm what I'm good at, what I'm excited by. I get to do what I can do. The second part is technical. I call it technical alignment here. So meaning like discussions that help me do my work better. Not on a political level, not on a corporate level, but on a technical level. I need something from you. I need a piece of information. And it excites me to have this talk because afterwards I'm smarter and I do what I do best even better. Really great. Next thing we have in a typical work day of our engineer over here is the coffee talk. That's also nice, right? I want to know how your vacation was. I want to know how your kids are. That's actually a pretty cool part of work too. But then we look on the dark side. It's chasing knowledge. So I know that someone in the organization knows something, but I don't know who, and I don't know where it is, and I don't know if the PDF I have is up to date at the moment. So I have to run and chase and ask and call. And the bigger the organization, I see Mercedes-Benz in the room, or former Mercedes-Benz, for instance. The bigger the organization, the longer those chases can be. The even worse is when we then have a misunderstanding. I didn't chase enough. So I'm working on like an old idea, old PDF, old something, not up to date. And I do whatever I need to do based on the assumptions I have. And I need to rework because there was a misunderstanding. There was a miscommunication. There was maybe something was just forgotten, went in the wind. And of course, the worst one is being micromanaged. No one likes that. So at the top here, this is what we love to do when we come to work in the morning. This is what our heart loves to do when we come to work in the morning. And down here, this is what our heart hates to do, right? So if we want to go into a passion-based entry of system engineering to organizations, what do we need to do? We need to do more of this and less of that. So the question must be, with systems engineering, right? We talked a lot about compliance and traceability and building the right thing and so on and so on and so on. Let's flip the script and say, can we not eliminate this? If not eliminate, reduce significantly. To create a day like this, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't we love to work in an atmosphere where this is the case? And we've met people who have days almost like this. The bigger the organization, the more established the organization is, the more it looks like on the left. So can we eliminate this to create this here on the right with little effort? Right? This is very important. So in order for someone to follow me, I want to be able to tell them, hey, give me a little bit of your time, a little bit of your effort, not weeks and months of training, right? Once they're excited and they want to dive deeper, great. Have all the trainings, get the certification, perfect, right? But at the beginning, we need to be able to convince them, give me a little bit of effort, and I'll show you a world where you can do more of what you actually like to do. So how do we do it? Shall we do it? I say with a little requirements engineering joke. So in order to do that, let's understand I call them clients, right? So we don't need to convince other systems engineers of systems engineering. They're already convinced. And if we look at how systems engineer approaches systems engineering, it's usually, and being someone who is advertising a tool all the time, I get that a lot, is process is important, methodology is important. The tool is just the icing on the cake, like the little cherry on top here. And that is really true for systems engineering. This is how we have experienced systems engineers to go through the world. That's why they also love reading the books, discussing about different methodologies, going to conferences where different methodologies are compared, new methodologies are shown. But we need to see, or no, let me rephrase that, from our experience in our normal daily life as engineers, but now also as the SPIFE team, we see something very different. We see something different in the sense that all other engineers that are not naturally inclined towards systems engineering, and guesstimate is about 90% of them, their first point of contact, their gateway into systems engineering is the tool. It's, hey, could you link your test cases to your requirements? Okay, yeah, I want to do that. How do I do that? Here you go. Here's a tool. Here's some coursework that you need to do, and so on and so forth. So there is a reason why we see these problems, and there's probably many ways to get a solution here. For us at Spicy, the solution is a tool, and the system engineering community doubts us here and there. It's like, no, a tool is not the solution. We believe yes it is, because it's the gateway. Imagine an engineer coming in, they see that, and they say, oh no, it's too complex, it's too convoluted, I don't get it, it keeps me from doing what I actually want to do. Away they go, right? They just touch the tip of this pyramid, and away they go. We don't give them the chance to get excited about it and to dive deeper and to come closer to our world. And now, before I continue, I saw there were some messages in the chat that I might want to read and answer. I miss a relevant amount of time wasted attending unproductive meetings. Yes, I absolutely agree. Wouldn't it be great if system engineering could reduce those meetings? We also need to find a way to spark and maintain passion to connect the deep work to sustainable and profitable product systems for organizations to continue to exist. Absolutely, absolutely. And I hope we'll see that we're playing a part in that. And Ron says, I would put desired result at the bottom of the pyramid. We have to discuss this more. I'm not sure I understand. Nevertheless, looking at timing, I'll move on. So usually, this is how we perceive the entry into system engineering at the moment. We need to climb a mountain, a process, method, and tool, and the invest, and we saw it also in the answers given in the Menti, the invest is perceived as too high. I don't know what return I get. I don't want to invest it. I have other things to do. I have things that I like to do more. And on the top of this mountain, there's a flag waving, like a carrot that we want to attain. And it's usually, and we saw that also in the answers, it's milestones, certifications, it's corporate goals, right? We saw earlier that this tickles the brain, but it doesn't tickle the heart. So we know that we should be excited by it, but somehow we're not. So we need to climb a high mountain, but the goal on top of this mountain is a goal that, well, we're only so, right? And of course, if you run a small startup, the corporate goals are your personal goals, then it's fun. The bigger your organization is, the more divided you are personally from those goals, the harder this is. So what's the solution that we came up with? It's make it personal. What's the personal goal for any engineer? We suffered so much math in our studies. Now we want to do what we feel we were put on this earth to do, right? We want to innovate. We want to do what we're passionate about. So the goal shouldn't be corporate. The goal to go into system engineering should somehow be personal, innovation. And of course, the second thing is lower the mountain. At least at first, right? At least to get them hooked, to get them excited, so they want to dive deeper into the mountain. So the solution that we came up with, and you can see it here, a tool that develops method and process. Build a tool, the escalator shows you can get into it super quick, and it covers the methodology and the process. If you just know how to click the things, the methodology and process is covered. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to read a book about it. And that makes it really easy for people to enter. Now, the last Menti for the day. I hope you have the phone still out.
Or take them out quickly. Or visit the website, menti.com, and use the code. Different options.
Yes, I like this answer. Is Marcus still here? It's probably not Marcus' answer.
So I'm actually in my car now, so I have to move from the office, so I can't do the Menti.
Okay, yes, agree. I think the people disagreeing will give us longer answers. That's why it takes a while. Maybe. Who said maybe? Can you specify?
You can also write in the chat if you don't want to speak or cannot speak. First, engage the heart. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely agree. How? Easier tool. But how to make sure the process is right? How do you act on lack of passion in general? Ooh. That's a tough assessment. I think engineers should be super passionate about what they're building. Can you demonstrate or prove your assessment? Yes. Sorry?
Maybe the person who's lacking passion is maybe the wrong employee, or at least at the wrong position.
Sasha says in an organization with 50 engineers, it will be hard to get everyone on board. Well, maybe 49 of them you can get.
Yeah. So Robert, we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, let's
we still have the voting, so
yeah, I think maybe let's, due to time constraints, let's skip the voting here. Thank you for really interesting answers. But we still have a gift to give, right? So let's go through this quickly. So yeah, our solution, of course, right? We presented problems and we brought a solution that is what we think solves the best, and the solution, as we showed, was a tool. Really quickly, it's browser-based, so no updates, installation, etc. We connect architecture and requirements in one view, because usually industry standards need to learn a requirements tool, an architecture tool, maybe a bridge tool in between, and that's way too much for the, let's say, normal domain engineer. Thirdly, oops, oh, I painted the thing. The system boundary owns everything, right? So we don't need to connect architectures and requirements together. The system boundary is in the lead, and the system boundary owns requirements, tests, discussions, interfaces, and so on. Why? Because this is the language that engineers speak. If you let them into a room with a whiteboard, they draw you boxes and arrows, system boundaries and interfaces, right? And we decided to make our tool speak the language that the engineer speaks anyhow. And last but not least, but of course, right, it's the AI age has begun. In Spicy, you find a lot of wizards that will support you in all the manual steps. For instance, you see here in the background the linkage wizard, which will give you suggestions on how to link and what to link. It's important to note the AI never interacts with the model at all. It just gives you advice on what to do. And then you can agree with that advice or not, but it will make you super, super fast if you link with the AI wizard. And yeah, some voices of the customer, I'll go through them super quickly. To Sasha's comment, can we convince 50 people? Yes, we can. So Sören here says, well, we switched to Spicy and immediately the whole team worked collaboratively. He actually called us inside our servers virtues though, because there was more people onboarded than we ever believed possible in a short amount of time. Manuel, who does heating systems, he uses it to align a large and diverse group of people. So it's not all systems engineers, they're not all from the same domain even. He does climate technology, so heat pumps and things like that. A lot of different places in the world where it happens, and they all connect via Spicy. And Matteo, friend of the house, he said he only needed a half an hour of training. So I think every one of your 50 people can give half an hour of training. And of course, should you be, I saw Kai here from the TH Köln. If you are in academia, also we have a lot of great academic institutions in the world using Spicy for teaching, and it's also really easy to get your students to do it. So in case you are interested, you can scan this QR code in the next 10 seconds. Or write us an email, write us on LinkedIn. I think we're all connected. We'd be happy to chat about how we can get that team of 50 engineers excited about systems engineering. But now we promise you a gift, a magical gift for you. What do engineers love? Well, what do we love? We love systems engineering. We love trying it ourselves. We want to touch things, and we love AI. So we invite everyone here in the room to go to magic.spicysE.com, and you will see one of our, or basically our super wizard in action, where you can prompt yourself a whole systems engineering model. And this will also give you access to Spicy in case you want to try it. You can click around, add some requirements, do some linkage, do some things. But first and foremost, you will see the power of AI in systems engineering live. And you can create the product that you've always wanted to create. So please, you want to see some ultra creative prompts when we look at what was built tonight. Did you already build something? There was an applause here. Thank you so much for joining and for giving us your attention. We're not quite done yet. We also have a Q&A. So if you have some cues, feel free to post them here, and we're looking to answer them.
Louis just raised his hand, if I saw correctly.
No, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Ah, okay.
Well, maybe I also put the magic.spicy9system.com in the chat. Use it, do it. We will happily sponsor you some AI credits so that you can create the object product system of your dreams. All right, great. We have 5 minutes left. So if you have any comments, questions, you can unmute yourself, use the chat, use the Menti, whatever is best for you.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question. How do you feel about querying the entire model using an LLM? In theory, could an existing LLM connect like Cloud or ChatGPT? Well, yes, this is exactly how we do it, right? You can run your own LLM on-prem, or you can use an existing one to power all these AI wizards. The LLMs have become so good that they really help. They don't need to be like super specially trained. Querying the entire model using an LLM, I think it's fun to do, but I don't think it's really the right path to go, because system engineering is all about control, right? It's all about knowing what we did. So we need someone from the team for the moment, some human, to at least have an overview of all significant clicks that were done. So for productive purposes, I wouldn't give my development to the LLM quite yet. Marcus, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I was thinking that kind of what you've been doing is you're lowering the bar and inviting non-SEs, let's say, non-passionate SEs into the wonderful world of SE. My conclusion currently is the inverse, that instead of us as SEs trying to lure non-SEs in, maybe it's our job to understand the downstream work and give them a handover of the requirements, the interfaces, the design decisions, etc., in whatever tools they work in. So let's say that we have a software team working with Jira, like 90% of software teams does. Instead of telling them, you should go to my tool and copy your requirements from there, we could instead have the definition of done for the SE to make sure that whatever we choose to work with, we want to present it as a Jira ticket for them from a baseline in our tool. And if you go to the hardware electronics engineers, the same thing in Altium, because their ecosystems usually have something to manage requirements. The same in MathWorks, System Composer, they have requirements management built in. And those people working in those tools typically want the requirements to be in their tools. So it's more like a federated tool approach. This is kind of what Saab in Sweden, Linköping, is proposing with the 4-box model. So flipping the script a bit, instead of lowering the bar for SE, maybe we should raise the bar for ourselves and make the downstream work easier in whatever tool they decide to work in.
Well, in theory, yes. In practice, I've only seen organizations struggle with that approach. Because in any given organization, you might have 117 different development tools. And it would mean creating and connecting live every one of those development tools. Or, of course, right, there's vendors who will give you a whole suite that does everything, which means you then need to educate all of your team to use that suite. That's kind of the approach there. Everyone who tries, I hope that it works. I don't believe it does. I believe it's easier to give an easy to access centralized marketplace than trying to do that. In the Q&A we have, when do we have the next follow-up meet? Well, thank you so much for the enthusiasm. We are going to do a webinar next month, hopefully. You'll all get invites again, and we hope to see familiar and unfamiliar faces again. Is there any way to export snapshot at a point in time to create a frozen configuration baseline? I'm supposing that the author of this question means in Spicy, and the answer is yes, there is. If you're curious, write us on LinkedIn or write us an email, or just create a thing in Magic that we will contact you. All right, it's 2 o'clock, right on time. Last chance for you to ask a question. Ask a question with your voice in the chat or in the Q&A. Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you all. How do I learn about product updates, Connor asks. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn. Go to spicysE.com. Get yourself a trial license. Try it out. Touch it. Buran, any important advice for SE? Yes. Understand. So my important advice for SE would be understand that you are excited about systems engineering, but the people around you might. Connor asked, any cool upcoming releases you've planned? Yes, we're completely redesigning our dynamic architecture, so watch out on LinkedIn for some product updates on that. It will be awesome. Oh yeah, and Torben also answered in the chat. All right, then it's 2:01. I think let's close the session. Thank you all for attending.